Konnichiwa and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Sez. Today we're going to be cooking risotto. Now this is a really nice, easy thing to cook. It is fairly time consuming though, and you've got to have a bit of patience, but it's really not a difficult thing to cook. So what you're going to need is, you're going to need to buy some risotto rice. And the way I'm doing it today, I'm going to be doing a vegetable risotto. So I'm just going to be, well I say vegetable, it's a mushroom risotto specifically. So you need just a handful of mushrooms. And you'll need 2 vegetable stock cubes for this as well. A little bit of butter and a little bit of onion. No, I said onion, didn't I? You see, I'm losing the plot already. Anyway, once you've got all these things, I'll show you what you need to do to prepare them, and then we'll get cooking. Okay, so as you can see, this is the ingredients that we'll be using today. This is the rice. I've got enough for about 2 people here. This is about 160 grams of rice. Believe me, it doesn't look a lot now, but when that's all cooked up, that'll be plenty enough. We've got our mushrooms. Now, these might look quite big at the moment, but remember what we learnt when we were making the spaghetti bolognese. These pieces will cook right down when we start cooking the risotto. So we need them like they are, but I like them as these sort of fairly thinnish slices for mine. And a finely chopped half of an onion here for the 2 of us. And here is our pint of stock, which is made using 2 vegetable stock cubes. And I'll show you what to do with it all. Now what you're going to need is the absolute biggest pot you've got. This is the biggest pot I've got. And I'll show you what to do with it in a little while. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just melting down a knob of butter. But you can make it completely vegetarian. You could use any other substitute. It doesn't have to be butter. You could use a vegetable margarine, or you could go for some kind of soya substitute, I suppose. Whatever you want, really. Whatever it is you use as your spread, I guess. So that's nicely melted down now. And we don't put the rice in straight away, because actually we need to cook off our onion and our mushrooms, so I'm just going to put those in the pot, and it's almost like frying them off at first. They really don't need to be in the pot without the rice for very long. You really only do it very, very quickly. Shove in our handfuls of onion there, because all we really want to do is kind of soften these off, start them cooking away, because then when we go to add in the rice and stock, they've had a little bit of a head start, I suppose, as you could say. So what you've got to do is just keep them moving around, because you really don't want them to catch with the butter or anything like that, and they will cook down and brown off and soften very, very quickly. So that's all we're doing at the moment. And then after a minute or so, I'll be putting the rice in. So I'll come back to you when we're ready to start actually doing the rice and stock and all that sort of thing. So as you can see here, while I'm not flicking rice everywhere, is that we've got our rice in now with the mushrooms and with the bits of onion. And this liquid in here is the stock. So what you need to do is pour it in ever so slowly, bit by bit, because the key to this recipe really is, or this dish really is time. You've got to have time. So I've got this on a medium heat at the moment, so it can absorb all the juices there. And what you want to do is this rice will gradually absorb all the stock, because you're trying to get a creamy consistency, which should be lovely. And what I'm going to do is very gradually pour it in bit by bit. As you can see, there's still a lot of stock left in there. This is going to be a very gradual, very slow process. And you just need to stand over it and keep moving it around and making sure that the rice soaks up all that lovely stock. And when you think that it's absorbed most of the stock that's in there, you add the next bit. And actually, I think we're nearly ready to add a little bit more stock to this rice, because it will soak it up fairly quickly. But really, you do need to use an awful lot of stock for what seems like a small amount of rice. The rice is a very thirsty grain, so what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit more, just to show you. It's probably a little bit early, but just add little bits at a time. Little bits, just so that the rice can soak all that up. So I'm going to be doing this for quite a while now, and there's no point in me standing here with a camera on it the entire time, because you're going to get a bit bored just watching this, but that's what you need to do. But before I show you the finished article, the finished creamy product, what you need to know is you can do pretty much anything with a risotto. You can also do, you could do this, but you could add bacon to it if you wanted to, if you're a meat eater. As I say, this is a vegetarian option. You can also add wine to it as well. A lot of recipes do call for adding wine. Now, I've got some wine. It's not for cooking with, it's for drinking. But yeah, you can do that if that's what you want. So I'm going to carry on cooking this risotto and I'll show you the finished product in a moment. Well, it'll be a moment for you. It'll be a long while for me. So as you can see, the risotto ends up with this kind of creamy, thick consistency. It's really, really hot as well. And that's kind of what you're aiming for. So you can see it's all got a mixture of onion and mushroom in there, and it's all thick and lovely, and look at the heat. I'm sure you can probably see the steam rising off of the thing. Now, normally I would give you my husband Dave's opinion on these things. However, he was at home from work, and I think he's disappeared off somewhere. So, if he doesn't hurry up, I'll probably end up eating his as well. And that's all I've got time for, really. So I guess I will finish on me. Sayonara.